Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at the brand new Saxon album, Carpe Diem. Just came out on Friday, February 4th of 2022. Fantastic new album, 24th studio album, and first one of all new material in 4 years. Before we dive into this though, if you are new to my channel and haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this. We're taking a look at the brand new Saxon Carpe Diem studio album. So a little bit of background, a little bit of history here on the band itself. They formed all the way back in 1977, celebrating 45 years this year as a band, and of course notable for leading the new wave of British heavy metal movement, along with bands like Iron Maiden and Def Leppard. And of course, Saxon didn't really become as big as those bands, but they certainly did make an indelible impression on the music industry and quite a legacy for themselves as well. And so beginning with their self-titled debut album in 1979 and continuing on for the next 5 albums, they really do lead the pack in terms of some of the best music from the new wave of British heavy metal movement. And I would say their second, third, and fourth studio albums, Wheels of Steel, which came out in 1980, you can see all of those there on the bottom tier. Strong Arm of the Law, also 1980, and Denim and Leather, 1981. They're just pure classics of the genre. You can't get any better than those 3 albums. And along with the title track, Denim and Leather itself, the band created one of the movement's biggest anthems. That song there, anytime people talk about new wave of British heavy metal, Denim and Leather is always something that is discussed within it. And so if nothing else, they have that stamp on as their legacy, from what they have created. But really, they are so much more than just that. And throughout the band's career itself, they've never broken up, and that's a pretty big accomplishment right there. They've continued to record new studio albums, now totaling 24 with this one here, Carpe Diem. And while the lineup has changed over the years, guitarist Paul Quinn and frontman Biff Byford still remain from the original lineup all the way back 45 years ago. And together those two, I think, have really defined both the sound of the band, but also the genre that they're part of, this new wave of British heavy metal and just metal music in general. And again, Biff Byford alone, he's got one of the most distinct voices in all of metal. When a Saxon song comes on and he starts singing, we know that it is Saxon, we know that it is Biff Byford. And so this album here started in development all the way back in 2019 and of course into 2020, but with COVID and other delays, the album itself was pushed off. Now, as a nice thing for the fans, the band released an all covers album, Inspiration, in 2021. Unfortunately, with the release of that album, they also made the announcement that this future album here that we now have was going to come out 1 year later. So here we are though, we are finally at that 1 year later mark, and we are getting the brand new album, Carpe Diem. So let's talk about this album here. As I mentioned, it is the 24th studio album. There are 10 tracks on this. It is 44 minutes long. It's kind of right at that nice level. Not too long to get worn out on it, and not too short that you feel like you're missing out on it. And it's produced by Andy Sneap, which I think is really cool. Of course, he's worked with Judas Priest and Accept, but I think he brings a really good sound and production level to this album here. And so it has been 4 long years since the last album of all new original material that they did. And while I have liked the last few albums that the band has done, I often find myself not returning to those albums. And I kind of thought Saxon might be done. They might have said all that they can say. But I will say with this release, they have proved me wrong. And I'm really glad, for one, that they did that, because this album here has many classic moments on it, in my opinion, recalling some of their earliest recordings and from those first 6 albums. And it's also one of the heaviest recordings that they've done, most dynamic album too in a long time. So for this one here, the band sounds fully amped up, full of youth, energy, power, intensity, all of that stuff you can really hear in this. It's almost like a young band has come forward with a new album, in my opinion, still carving that path that they set out on 45 years ago in 1977. And so, the band could easily sit back, rest on its laurels, but instead they're continuing to forge ahead. I really appreciate that, putting out new albums, creating a direction that is all their own. This album here is just pure Saxon metal. case in point. So let's talk about some of the standout tracks on here. Why is this album so good? Track number 2, Age of Steam. This one here has an excellent opening guitar riff on it, and then it just kicks in and chugs throughout on it. A lot of classic elements reminiscent of the early days in this one. Track 3, The Pilgrimage, fantastic epic like other Saxon songs that they're known for doing like this. Easily could have appeared on the 1984 album Crusader, in my opinion. It's just got that sort of feel to it. Track number 4, Dam Busters. This one here is one of the faster songs on the album. It's got an almost thrash style gallop to it. Pulls you through though for a heck of a ride on this song. Track number 5, Remember the Fallen. This one here is a mid-tempo rocker and another song with classic leanings to it. Easily could have appeared on the earlier albums again. Currently my favorite track out of all 10 of these. And then track number 7, Lady in Grey. This one here is another epic track, but this one here has a more haunting feel to it. It incorporates piano, which is a nice added effect and not something we typically get on a Saxon album. So kind of cool to see them doing that. Let's take a look at this. This is the front cover. I think it's really cool. It's got a nice throwback to the debut album as well as Crusader and just the feel of it. This is an embossed, if you can see there that it is raised on the cover. Very nice colors on this thing. Not really so much a gatefold if opened like that, but it is nice the way that works together. And so let's look at the inside of it. You get that. Nothing behind the disc, just red color. I do like the graphics on this. I have to say, I think they've done a really good job. The booklet itself has a glossy sheen to it. So while this is matte, the booklet itself is glossy, which is nice and feels slick in the hands. You get that logo again from the inside. All the lyrics are in here. Not a lot of photos. You do get this one nice photo, which I think is a great shot of all 5 of the guys there. Just very, you know, period appropriate for a band that's been around for 45 years kind of a thing, and just continues on with album credits and things of that nature and the back side of it. So bottom line though, on this album here, I think Saxon makes a really strong return with this album. The band does not try to reinvent themselves. You know, they stick with moving forward and at the same time having a number of throwbacks to their classics that are in this. And it's one of the freshest sounding albums from Saxon in a very long time. Consistently good all the way throughout on this thing. And just, for me at least, it was a great surprise and a welcome return for these guys. Heavily recommended that you guys check it out if you're a fan of Saxon, heavy metal, and or the new wave of British heavy metal movement. All very good things here. So there you go. That is the review of the brand new Saxon album, Carpe Diem. Please share this video out on social media if you want to help spread the word. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'm sure Saxon would thank you too. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Take care, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye, guys.